everybody. My name is Sean Dowse. I'm the mayor of Red Wing, and thank you. Thank you for coming tonight to the Board and Commission Member Recognition Event. You are important people. You do a great job and an important job for the city of Red Wing. And just to start off, I want to personally thank you all for doing what you do for Red Wing. It is a great, important work, and I just love what you do and how you guys do it, and you pitch in. So, we have chosen this night recognition of the board and commission members as a time where the mayor gives the State of the City address. Thought this is a great audience to do it for. Public, before staff, as well as volunteers who help support the city. So I'm going to introduce the mayor of Red Wing. To do the State of the City. It's always fun trying to put this speech together. Back in January, the City Council had a workshop, and during this workshop, city staff gathers to show and let the council know their accomplishments for the past year. And the staff of City of Red Wing is absolutely amazing in all the jobs they do, all the great work they do to lay the groundwork for a great city here in Red Wing. And it's all the stuff that they do is just absolutely overwhelming. And I'm going to mention a few of those things tonight, pick a few of those, but it's just a privilege to be mayor of the city of Red Wing that works with a staff like we have at the city of Red Wing and a citizenry like we have in the city of Red Wing. So it's just great. So the State of the City for 2019. The city of Red Wing is where we work together. The city's manufacturing sector, its power plants, its retailers, its hospitality sector, its industry, it's the city's educators, its medical providers, the Prairie Island Indian community, our nonprofit and cultural community are all working hard in Red Wing, creating jobs, sparking business, and getting us ready to be an all-around, year-round destination for recreation, arts, and living. It is said that no one moves to Minnesota because of the weather. I don't know if anybody here did. But they will move to Minnesota and Red Wing because of the jobs, the assets, and the amenities that we all embrace here in Red Wing. Red Wing city government works to support this whole ecosystem of living here in Red Wing. Over 1,000 different tasks are accomplished each day by a dedicated workforce, striving to keep us safe and support our neighborhoods, our thriving economy, and to stimulate the city's growth through strategic infrastructural investment while preserving and enhancing this small city's unique historic and natural environmental character. Local government, being that unit of government closest to the people, is the most accountable and must be the most responsive. We in this room are the front lines of our local government that ensures that it always will be accountable and responsive. So give yourself a hand for that. Thank you. And I put it to you that the state of the city of Red Wing is one where our democracy works. It may be the one level where our democracy is so thoroughly functional. Former Senator Dave Durnberger recently wrote a book entitled When Republicans Were Progressive. Writing of a party that emerged in the 1930s and grew in stature through the 40s and 50s, Senator Durnberger wrote, speaking of that Republican Party, "It stood not for big or small government, but for effective government. It prized government not for its own sake, but as a practical tool for creating the conditions that allowed individuals to thrive. To a remarkable degree, it both reflected and enlarged the strengths of the people of Minnesota. It supplied their leaders and built their institutions. It nurtured a sense of responsibility for the common good. That's a term we don't hear often, the common good, in both citizens and elected officials. It encouraged citizen participation, drawing its ideas and resources from the grassroots. In Red Wing, unquote, in Red Wing, we have effective government that supports a thriving community. We here in this room are creating the conditions that allow families, businesses, cultural, education, and health organizations to flourish. The strength of this city reflects the strength of its people and its institutions. Most importantly, we have cultivated a sense of the common good that produces outcomes for the common good. And here's just a few, I mentioned a few things that city staff and the City of Red Wing got together to do. Some of the outcomes that the sense of this common good has produced in 2018. And some of these are what the city may have done and city done as partners with other community organizations. A Sunnyside School playground, the Sheldon renewal, fire station renovations and a construction of fire station number 2, the Barn Bluff graffiti ordinance and policy for preserving Hemenicha, where 3 of our commissions came together to recommend sound policy, improve city communications with the community. City staff worked with the HRA, City Council, and our commissions to process and approve a tax increment financing application for an affordable and market rate housing project that is the beginning of addressing our housing challenges. I was talking to Randall Hammerlin, who's the executive director of the HRA the other day, and he said, beginning with a 60-unit apartment building that was built over by Walmart and continuing through the TIF, he is now starting to get inquiries, good inquiries, about developers who want to come to Red Wing and build housing because the dam has broken open. They finally got over the hump that people would say, we can't do it in Red Wing. Well, now we know we can, and others outside the community are looking at us saying, okay, let's go do a project there. So things are starting to happen. The Spring Creek Road and Highway 61 intersection was realigned. We received over $3 million in grants for projects in and around Red Wing. A new onboarding process, and this has to do with outstanding work of staff. A new onboarding process for all incoming commissioners was created and implemented. A new app was implemented to track board and commission data, making my job possible. Training and support materials were created for staff liaisons. 197 meetings were produced and archived. Good job. Interesting factoid I learned. In 2018, 878 building permits were issued. Compare with 544 in 2014. If you look at the thing, there's a steady line going up like that. The fire department trained and certified 147 people in CPR. Firefighters trained a total of 5,600 hours, or more than 5,600 hours. There were 183 fire safety inspections, 16 fire suppression plan reviews and permits, 16 fire alarm direction plan review and permits. The Fire Prevention Division worked with a community training of 1,800 people. Police responded to 15,700 calls for service, which equates to 43 calls per day. Police participated in the community forum, Needles and Pills, and hosted annual bike rodeo, just 2 of the events that our police department did community outreach for. Ask the Chief completed its 2nd year, resulting in 104 questions over 2 years addressed from the community. roll out some numbers here that just startled me when I read this. Your Public Works Department oversaw the maintenance, upgrade, and repair of 105 miles of paved streets, 6 miles of alleys, and 15 miles of gravel roads spread over 40 square miles, with 4,375 street signs, 12 miles of trails, and 69 miles of sidewalks. Public Works crews spent 4,748 staff hours on snow and ice removal operations last year. They applied 1,332 tons of treated salt, 92 yards of Class 5 mixed with salt and gravel on roads, 11,600 gallons of anti-ice liquid pre-treating roads, and hauled away 12,180 yards of snow from the downtown area and some residential areas. I saw them doing that this morning. They were up there doing that. We received, this is a quote from the thing, we received about 70 inches of snow for the season. That's last year. This year, we're at about, I think we're about 58 or something. 58 inches. And the season isn't done yet. So I think we're on our way to breaking the 70-inch thing this year. And water distribution, sewer collection, and storm maintenance, all underground infrastructure, including 1,003 fire hydrants, 3,000 water valves, 102 miles of water main, 12 lift stations, 2,369 manholes, and 99 miles of sewer mains. Stormwater system that consists of 926 manholes, 2,890 inlets, 2,209 outlets, 64 ponds, 7 miles of tunnels, and 50 miles of stormwater pipes. This all has to be repaired, and it's ongoing. All water projects were completed with staff from both streets and utilities. And here's one interesting thing. Solid waste tonnage. Who has a guess how many tons of waste we produced last year?
150,000.
Yep. 25,554 tons. And that's a 5.52% increase over 2017. Okay. So, this is what makes our city work. All this stuff going on. One of the most important outcomes of this sense of community, common good for the community, is Red Wing 2040. A 2-year effort of elected officials, city staff, and the community as a whole. It was based on these key principles: sustainability, health, accessibility, resiliency, and equity. 2040 was approved this last Monday at City's Council meeting. This is the first time that our city's comprehensive plan is a community plan, one where everyone is involved to making positive change. This plan focuses on people, not just things, and on how all of us live together here in Red Wing, not just what the city looks like. It also focuses on each of us, whether we've lived here for 3 days, 3 years, or 3 decades. All of us are important in making this community better. And the plan, as you know, we all know, focused on 11 topic areas. And I asked Michelle to help me on this, to focus on the real highlight takeaway from each area. Housing. We'll increase the type of housing available so every resident and those who want to live here can afford to find available and desirable places to live, which includes encouraging reuse of vacant buildings and houses and increasing flexibility in our zoning. We'll also add energy-efficient building practices, update tired buildings and houses, and create a community approach to prevent homelessness. Focusing on the economy, we'll create a more forward-thinking, comprehensive economic development strategy that will lure people to live here, work here, open businesses here, and keep their businesses here and visit here as tourists. In arts and culture, we'll create a comprehensive arts and culture plan that promises art will be a solid presence and an important economic development partner in our community. Art will be a part of our major city projects from the beginning. Community connections and accessible leadership. The city will make our programs and policies more inclusive, provide more ways for our elected and appointed leaders to meet with and listen to the public, and encourage more people to get involved with the government, especially our youth. The environment. We will increase our energy efficiency, manage healthy green spaces, increase recycling and organic composting, decrease the waste we produce, and update our plan for burning waste. We will also create a climate action plan that encompasses all these changes and more. In getting around in transportation, we will improve Red Wing's most dangerous intersections and continue to design all of our streets and sidewalks by focusing on the safety of all, especially our pedestrians of all ages and abilities. In public safety, we will ensure that every person in every neighborhood knows what to do in case of an emergency. We'll meet more with the public and work so every resident feels safe and a part of this community. In lifelong learning, we'll create apprenticeship programs and work with the schools and the community to provide meaningful internships for our students. In Parks and Rec, we will develop parks in the neighborhoods where they are lacking, support programming in our parks for all ages, create improvement plans for our major parks, and continue major projects at Hanamicha, at Barn Bluff, and the Riverfront Trail. In land use, we'll think creatively and support redevelopment projects that utilize land efficiently and embody accessibility, equity, sustainability, and walkability. Finally, we will create a community implementation team to ensure these goals continue to move forward. This is going to be a living plan, a living community plan. Not all immediately or not all at once, but thoughtfully over time so we keep progressing. Implementation will involve the entire community. Accomplishment of many goals will need the city to work with organizations and individuals to align goals, support the complex web of actions needed for success. As Council Member Evan Brown said last Monday, the plan is aspirational, yet it is also substantive and concrete. It has big goals, yet it guides us on how to get there. Thank you. The city has begun the process of taking 2040 and incorporating it into the 10-year strategic plan. Over the course of the next month or so, you in this room will be asked for your input. City staff is going to bring the strategic plan, the draft, to you for your comment and your input. So attend the meeting so you can have a hand into getting your focus, your area of focus into the strategic plan for the next 10 years. The 2040 was a 20-year plan. The strategic plan is a 10-year plan. We're going to have much more definite goals and stuff. So be there, make it work. The world is run by people who show up, and you are the guys who show up. So keep it up. Thank you. So, to paraphrase Dave Durnberg, in Red Wing, we stand not for big or small government, but for effective government. We prize it as a practical tool for creating the conditions that allow our citizens, our students, our businesses, our cultural community to thrive. We in this room nurture a sense of responsibility for the common good in both citizens and our elected officials. We recognize encourage citizen participation, drawing our ideas and resources from the grassroots. This is the state of our city, and it is excellent. Thank you.